Could anybody personally relate to the speaker last night? Personally, as a human being? Why, except for the one that says he could, why couldn't you? Forget the fact that he's a billionaire. Forget that he's successful. Forget all that, which you're not. As a human being, blood coursing through your veins. Well, some of you don't have any fucking blood coursing through your veins, because that would mean you could get an erection. So, I mean, let's assume you got blood coursing through your veins. And you're bringing in oxygen in a different, in your part. Why couldn't you relate? Yes, sir.
I could a little bit because he's fired up, but I keep that way as well.
Yeah, could a little. That means you have a little bit of a hard on, not a real hard on. Okay.
Well, I could a lot.
Why couldn't you? Couldn't you? Like I say up here. Come on, loud mouth. You got. I mean, what's the tip or the shortcut? Why couldn't you?
Well, he was a different person to me.
Well, obviously. Why am I asking?
Well, that's why I couldn't relate to him.
Okay. But what about him? Couldn't you relate to?
He had a lot of energy. He was very geeky in my mind.
Geeky meaning like a computer nerd geek?
Yeah.
That's amusing. They're a fucking geek. They can't get a hard on. It's calling Steve Ballmer a geek. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, he had overwhelming passion for what he did.
Just like you.
That's not like me.
Gee, Dan.
That's why I'm not related.
Okay. Okay. What else couldn't you relate to? I'm waiting. Come on. Yes, sir.
He's always thinking outside of the box, and it's like his love or passion for what he does, it overflows in everything he does, even in his connections to people and how he brings the people in. And so it's not like his passion really narrows his mind.
And I save napkins too. From my poor days, I save napkins, and all my $10,000 suits have fucking napkins in them that I've used 2-3 times because from when I was poor, and I tear them in half, and I save napkins. And I also squeeze a toothpaste tube, and I cut off the top, and I scrape the fucking toothpaste from inside. Back patterns. Okay, so what else? What else?
He's an alpha male.
Pardon?
He's an alpha male.
Yeah, well, that's... Okay, go ahead. That's... Kim, will you tell him to bring me a coffee, please? So you watch the film with Steve Ballmer in it, and he was at Oxford. So he was low-key. Now just remember, he was low-key. Because as he said at the beginning of his little talk, I know this is going to be, one, it's Oxford, and it's going to be on YouTube forever. And he said words to that effect. He was, I've never seen him that low-key. He was asleep, basically, for people to know him. If that's asleep, what the fuck are you? And he didn't say fuck one time. When I was at Oxford, I said fuck twice. I couldn't help myself. And I thought I was being a good boy, only saying it twice. But I did call the people in the audience cutie pie, sweetie, hey blondie. That's what you're competing against. And down deep inside, you know it. And that's why the tortoise, doesn't stick its head out or its feet out because it's the most vulnerable. Down deep inside, you know it. And that's why you read 700 books and you listen to the podcasts because you know you don't have a fucking chance. So you're smarter than you think you are. And that's why most people, and I mean not just you, but most people don't compete or ever try because you know. You know intuitively. You knew since you were a 4-year-old as a school child in the schoolyard that you got bullied or whatever. Like I said, the luck of the draw, I was the biggest kid in the school. And but I didn't know that. I didn't know that did me any good, because everybody used to come and run behind me. Danny, protect me, protect me. I didn't have any idea what that meant and what it would lead to. But Steve is an articulate, super alpha male, aggressive motherfucker. And there are guys, better is not the right word, that are, well, better than he is. He's probably in the middle of the continuum. He's in the middle.
Who's an example of someone who...
They're not in the public eye. And because of the iPhone and everything's on fucking YouTube now, they toned down. So remember, almost all of these guys have two personas. Not almost, all of them do. I'm the only guy that knows I'm the same way, whether I'm on YouTube or not. But because they're trying to sell you something. And he doesn't want to, they don't want to scare you. I mean, stories about Steve Jobs and trying to throw people out windows and shit like that are true. And we're going to see a couple of examples today about some of the things that Ballmer did. When there wasn't an iPhone that ended up in lawsuits. Because when you try to kill a programmer, I mean, even a weenie that deserved never to be born, you're probably going to go to court about it. Oh, thank you very much. What else about Steve? Yes, sir.
He doesn't shy away from any area of business that he doesn't like. So, there isn't any sort of, things that he doesn't like the idea of, so he doesn't go there.
I'll translate that in a different way. I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt, which is the antithesis of you guys. I mean, the antithesis. Because things that you doubt, which are most things in life, things that you doubt, you do not pursue aggressively. You don't pursue at all, because you don't want to be embarrassed, yada, yada. Now, tonight, you're going to see a world-class leader. That's the antithesis of Steve. Also very effective. But remember, 98% of the world-class leaders aren't like Ballmer, Trump, or myself. They're the other side of the continuum. Well, Steve is passionate about everything he does. He's the same when he gets up in the morning to when he goes to sleep at night, and I'm sure he is managing and owning the Los Angeles Clippers in the same fashion. I hear that some of the players, the higher paid players on the basketball team, put in for transfer after when the purchase went through. Not because they didn't want to be on a championship, none of that, because they didn't want to be accountable. And most of the world-class athletes in basketball, football, baseball are prima donnas now. They don't want to be accountable. They just want to get paid 20, 30, 40 million a year. And if collectively all their talents win a championship, great. But they don't want to be told what to do. That's for goddamn sure. And I don't know for a fact, but I'm just guessing that there are plenty of goddamn people on that team that are being told what to do now. Because they want the 40 million a year, but they want it their way. I'm a person. You can't treat me that way. I'm a human being. But that's what you're competing against, guys. Now, even if it's not the alpha male part, that same kind of effectiveness, that's what you're competing against. And that's why most people would rather go to a seminar, listen to a podcast, or read a book than go mano a mano with those kind of guys. And that's why when I came here, it was so fucking easy. It was just... I can't relate to you how easy it was. And of course, now in the 21st century, when you say it's like taking candy from a baby, that's bad. You can't say that's bad, but it was like taking candy from a baby. And it's going to be just the same for you if you follow the steps, because the meatheads won't have a chance. You're going to chop them up, literally. Just take the worst horror movie when they chop them up and and decapitate them. That's what you're going to do to them. Now, some of you Zen fuckers I don't want to do that. Yeah, I want to be successful, but I don't want to hurt anybody emotionally, and I don't want to make anybody. But then you came to the wrong fucking program. Because when you go minor with these guys, there's only one winner. Unlike now, there's 3 winners, and they give everybody a ribbon. We're not running any 5-hour marathons in this motherfucker, or you'll be out on your ass in the program. You're running 2:30, or you're not running. Anything else about Steve? Yes, sir.
So I said I could relate to him because I'm also from the technology industry and I'm in the same space. So contrary to some of the beliefs, Steve is not a geek. I mean, just that is my take, right?
No, he's not a geek.
He's not a geek. In fact, Microsoft had too many geeks inside. Bill Gates is a geek.
Yeah.
Paul Allen is a geek. Steve is not a geek. And because they built this persona of geekiness around them, they were not accessible by the general salespeople. He was running the sales organization. So he wanted to get the attention of the sales organization, and he wanted to show them that he is somebody like them who can translate the genius that sits within the geeks in Microsoft and translate that into a value proposition that customers would give a purchase order for. And this is his way of getting attention. I don't subscribe to everything that he does. But of course, his passion and his belief and his persistence, it shows through. And customers felt it, business partners felt it, of course, the people at Microsoft felt it. And they might have multiple opinions about Steve Ballmer as an individual, as a person. But one thing they all believe, that they all agree, that very few people, not only in Microsoft, but in the entire industry, had the kind of drive and passion and enthusiasm like him. So that's my take. So I can relate to him. I don't like everything he does. Definitely he's a person.
Well, you're never going to, if you're, again, see, many of you have been working on ideas and because you're trying to perfect them and you never roll them out. Well, I mean, you will never have a acquisition. You will never meet anybody that's going to be your CFO, your COO, your CEO, that's going to be anywhere near perfect. You may be looking for 5 traits. Tomorrow, there's only 3 traits you should look for in any of these people, but you probably have less than 15 traits. I only look for 1. I don't give a fuck if they got the other 14. 1. And I can fix all the rest. And that 1 is 120 hours a week. I can fix anything else. Everything else. I mean, Musk just said a couple years ago, you give me a guy 100 hours a week and we're going to, a mediocre guy, and we're going to finish the project 2 times faster than a 40-hour a week guy. Which is true. It's just that you can't find any 120-hour week guys anymore. They're few and far between. And I'm not interested in a one-trick fuck, a two-trick, he was talking about, two-trick ponies and that. I don't give a fuck. I would rather be a one-trick fucking pony, one time. Forget about it. I don't give a fuck if it's got application in Biafra or fucking on the moon. If it's got application enough to make $1 billion, that's enough for me. And many of the deals, and by the way, the YouTube, don't send me any deals. I don't, please, how many times do I have to tell you, don't send me anything. I don't read it. Go fuck yourself. I'm not interested. And I don't want you to buy me a coffee or a lunch. Go fuck yourself. Go to a welfare thing and buy a welfare guy a coffee. Please, stop. Stop it. Or I'm going to turn the motherfucker off. yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I look for. 120 hours. I can fix anything else, and I have, and I have. But all those guys, although they don't voice it, they may be wrong, but they're never in doubt. I was listening to a couple of days ago. One of the CEOs was explaining why they didn't meet their numbers, and I knew it was all bullshit. But his explanation. It's like when somebody leaves a company, he's leaving for a family, pursue other business interests. That's bullshit. When they leave, they want to spend more time with their family. Are you crazy? Who wants to spend more time with their family? Are you fucking sick? It's because what he got measured against, he didn't produce. That's why he's leaving. Not to spend more time with his family or to pursue other business interests. He's getting paid $25 million. Who else is going to pay him $25 million? Nobody. What gets measured gets accomplished. That's just it. And that's why the average CEO of a Fortune 500 company and a FTSE 100 company is about 5.5, 6 years. Rare exceptions are guys like Fred Smith at FedEx and a few others. But getting back to Steve, the reason we show him later in the week is because after we show you the animals that are founders of these businesses, you will have come to the conclusion, sadly in your mind, that you're not those people. You're not. But it doesn't matter. See, that's the beauty of this. It doesn't matter. 80 IQs do 400 million pound deals. And see, all of you think you've got a high IQ higher than 80, which is amusing. But see, you all, even the dumbest guy in this room, the stupidest guy on YouTube thinks, well, 80 IQ, fuck, 100 IQ is average, and fuck, I'm at. Well, you're not. You're not even average. And if you got 150 IQ, you're certainly only using half of it. So what is your 150 IQ? And I don't think that's high, personally. But what does the 150 IQ have gotten? What has it gotten you so far? How's your program worked out so far? Shit. And we've had guys in here with 200 IQs. And they failed. The highest IQ on the Hall of Fame is 180. Highest. The lowest is 80. Maybe lower, but 80. But most of you would be embarrassed to say you had 80 IQ, even if you did half a billion. That's the irony and tragedy of it. You'd be embarrassed. I've only got an 80 IQ, but I did 500 million pounds. You wouldn't say that. I know there's not a man, woman, or child that's ever come through this fucking seminar that would say, I got an 80 IQ, but I got 500 million quid in the bank. Quid is pounds. You wouldn't. Why wouldn't you?
Insecure.
When you're flying around in your G5, getting your balls sucked in your G5, living in a 40,000 square foot house, everything that you ever wanted in life. You wouldn't. Ciao, YouTube.